All right, I think we're live. It went on and then it went off, so I need to check and make sure I can maintain this bandwidth here. If not, I'm going to switch to 720p. But I think we're working here, so let me go over to live streaming. And let's see how this works. All right, so far so good. So we are good to go here. Hopefully this maintains itself. I did reboot my router this time. I didn't do that the last time I tried streaming, so that is that. So here's what I got here. So I wasn't actually intending on reviewing this because Nintendo is so bad to YouTubers, but I was out on B&H Photo and Video. I was getting some equipment for the studio here. I'm going to be changing up my cameras and microphones shortly just because I need to make some changes. Just because I want to shoot at 30p versus 1080i, long story. And then I was like, you know what, let me see if they have a Nintendo Switch because I couldn't get it anywhere else. And I figured, hey, if they've got it, I'll get it there. And sure enough, they had it in stock here. And I haven't opened it yet. It just got here a few minutes ago, like maybe an hour ago. And they made you buy the bundle, though. So I had to get the Zelda game, which I was probably going to get anyhow. And then for some reason, Just Dance 2017. So I'll be selling this one. So if anybody wants to buy it, email me. I'll put it up in the Lon.TV store for you. So that is that. So I think the first thing I'll do, just to drag this out and wait for more people to come in, is maybe we'll do a opening of the game here. So let me grab my little thing out here, and we'll open the game up and see what these cartridges look like. I have a feeling that we'll see these cases get smaller because I've seen now on all these other unboxings how small this stuff is here. So let's take this open here. All right, so let's see what we got here. There we go. I'm not licking the cartridge, as some are suggesting. So this is it. I'm sure it tastes horrible. It smells bad. It smells very plasticky. So I'm sure everyone who has done this already has given you the effective look as to how it tastes, just by the look on their face. So, but that is it. A very tiny little cartridge. It's kind of fun to go back to cartridges again, but I think we're at a point now where this media now can fit onto flash media for a very low price. So the cost differential is pretty minimal. But the case here is pretty big, as you can see. But I guess it has to be for theft reasons. So that's probably the reason why they did that. And no, you will not see me dance today unless you all want to do the super chat for hundreds of dollars. I'm not that desperate yet. I've only been on the job here 2 days, so we'll see what happens. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a recording because I'm also going to post this up to the Extras channel. So I'll be kind of doing my little intro. So let me do that real quick. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV and welcome to my Extras channel. We are unboxing the Nintendo Switch today, so we're going to do that. And while I am recording this, I am doing a live stream. And I think what I might do is just re-upload the entire stream to the Extras channel edited down because we're going to be basically setting this thing up and getting it working for the first time. So that is how it is working here. And got some questions coming in already. I think Cameron is here asking if they should get it after everyone's been talking about problems. And I think any hardware when it first comes out always has problems. And there's also certain amounts of failure rates here as you're going along there. So here is the screen, everybody. So let's take it out of the bag here. And if you hear me replying to people, it's because they're asking questions on the chat. And I'm following along here as we're doing that. So I'm going to pull this out here so you can see what it looks like. There you go. It looks a lot like a little tablet. I mean, it really, that's what it is. It's got the bezels and everything. I guess it is a touch display. So you can see on the top here, there is a vent. And I linked to a channel the other day from Gamers Nexus, I think it was, that took it apart. And there's actually a fan in here. And as you know, these have the same or similar processor to what the NVIDIA Shields are running with. And I would guess, based on the fan here, that this is probably more in line with the NVIDIA Shield TV processor, that X1. And what NVIDIA does is they make hardware for other companies. So they make custom chips, and I think this is a custom chip. Doesn't feel all that heavy. It feels heavier than, so let me give you a good example here. Like a really good analog to this would be the NVIDIA Shield 8-inch tablet. So this screen is smaller, as you can see. It feels a little bit heavier, I'm guessing probably because the battery is bigger, because this does, this is really intended to play games at a pretty, strenuous level here against the GPU. So it's not heavy, but it's definitely heavier, I think, than this tablet is. It's also a little thicker than the Shield tablet, too, as you can see. But if you have a larger space here, like the Shield tablet, you've got some room to really make it work. So that is that part. And we'll be booting this up shortly, of course. So let's put this down for a second, and we'll go in and look at some other stuff. Yeah, BB Garnett in the chat is saying that if you buy this, don't put any skins on it. There was a post on Reddit where they talked about that, where I guess the stickers will kind of peel off the finish on the controllers here. So this is the one of the game cons, as they say. There's not a lot of room here on the stick, so it feels like it ends more abruptly than it might feel like on other game controllers. So it is tiny. Look how tiny that is. And I'm not sure I'm digging this centerpiece here, but it does push down. And I'll put it a little bit closer here so you can get a good look at it. So that is what it looks like. Ooh, ah. And it clicks. It's got a nice click to it. It feels like a mini controller. You know what this reminds me of? I reviewed a SteelSeries controller that's about this size. It's like a Bluetooth controller, and it feels very similar to that. I guess there's a little overlay that you can get for the bottom, the back of it here, because these buttons feel like they're hard to push. And I guess that's a battery indicator. I'm hoping I have some battery in these things. Otherwise, it'll be a very short stream. So we'll see how this goes when we get everything else working. So that is that part. Random guy, you can put skins on it, but there was a post on Reddit from one of those people that makes skins, and they said that when they were testing their skins on it, it was actually peeling the finish off. There feels like there's it's not a rubberized layer, but it definitely feels like there is a finish over the plastic, and I could see that happening. So here's the other game con. And this one has a stick in a better position, I think. So I'm guessing that when we put the whole thing together, it'll make sense. Subway's so fresh. If you go to Lon.TV/store, you can see all the stuff I have for sale on there, and I discount it based on the fact that it's used. So the one thing I'm noticing, and again, we'll have to see how this works when we start playing the game, is that there definitely doesn't feel like there's a lot of room on these sticks. So I think fine motion might be a little challenging with it because there's just very little motion that it can go in. You can see there how that works. So that is that. And Mark Allen writes that it's probably due to how they add the colors to the sticks. And I would think that's probably correct, that there's probably some way they can keep the plastic the same and then just change the paint or whatever coating they're using for the color on there. So that is that. Why don't we attach it to the device here? Let's try that. So let's slide it in. And I like that click. And a lot of people have talked about the click also. It makes a really nice click. There's a button back here to release it. So hear that? It sounds really nice. And there we go. Looks like it actually came to life here real quick. So now it's already booting up. Wow, how about that? The screen looks nice. You know, it's funny. I've been seeing a lot of reviews of this online, and the screen didn't look all that great to me, but it really is a very sharp display. The one thing is that when you get 720p in this size, it actually is a very attractive look because you're really condensing a lot of pixels into a small area. So 720p is not looking bad here. I'll give you a closer look at it if I can. So you can see it looks pretty sharp, doesn't it? It actually looks nice. So I am pleased with that. So I'll view the end user license agreement. We'll just go to next here. Now I will say this: it feels very wide, and this is one of the things that I haven't liked about some of those big screen Android devices, that it does feel wide, although it's probably less wide than the Wii U controller is, and you've got a bigger screen, I think. So there's certainly some benefit to that. So I'm just going to connect it up with my Wi-Fi real quick. Let me just do that while you guys watch me type into this thing. This is what it looks like in the back. There's a kickstand, as many people have pointed out. It does feel as cheap as everyone says it feels. Look at that. It just doesn't, let's see. It works, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last with the kid. So we'll see. It's a good thing my older daughter doesn't like video games yet. So, and not that I haven't tried, but she is not into those things yet. So, all right. So it is a touch screen, by the way. So I'm typing in my network settings now. And how much you guys want to bet there's going to be some huge firmware update that will take about an hour to download? I bet you that's going to be the next step. Let's see. So I'm connected now. Let me switch over here. And I'm going to set my time zone to Eastern time here. I'm in New York. And all right, so now it wants me to connect to a TV and play on a larger screen. And we're going to do that. And I think in order to do so, we're going to need to take out the next part of the box here. So let's do that. I got ahead of myself here. So let's go now and take a look over at the rest of the pieces here. So this is the joystick connector, which we'll get to in a minute. Here is a HDMI cable, but I already have a cable plugged in. Here is the power cord. Now, I am in the United States, so if you are in a different country, your power cord will look different, but I think it'll be probably similar to this, so not a huge brick. USB Type-C, folks, so we are standardizing. That's a new thing for Nintendo. They are well known for not always doing that. And I also have here the base station. This is smaller than it looks like on TV. And let me undo this thing. And there is the base station. So it looks like, so here's what people have been talking about with the base station, here's what it looks like inside, is that it doesn't have any way to kind of cushion the screen against scratches. And so there is kind of you can see it in here, there is like a raised surface here, but it's not padded. So if you've got gunk on there that might, like maybe some sand or something, if it gets into your house, it might scratch the screen as it goes in. So we're going to try to, I'm just going to see if it touches it when we set it up. So let me set this up over here. And what I'm also going to do is get the thing put together here. Now, Random Guy says he heard that you can't charge and use it at the same time, or charge and use the TV stand at the same time. I can't imagine that being the case, but it's possible. I mean, it could be that it doesn't charge, but it doesn't lose any battery life. I've seen that with laptops before, where it has like a certain amount to it. So I'm going to get the camera zoomed out here a little bit, and let's just lower it down slightly so you can see the monitor. And we're going to get the rest of it going here. So I've got my monitor hooked up. I'm going to grab my HDMI cord. I dropped this monitor the other day. It was horrible. It survived, which was good. I tripped over the cord. This monitor has the stupidest power adapter I've ever seen. And as a result, you can't like plug it into the power strip all the time because I don't have enough room for it. So let me go to the back of the dock here so you can see what we've got. So it looks like I can, well, it's got some cable management in the back there. So it's got some, there we go, a little door that opens up here. And you have spots for AC adapter, USB, and HDMI out. So I'm going to attach the HDMI first. No Ethernet, BB Garnet, that is correct. And now I'm going to get the power adapter undone. Looks like the cable is pretty long on it, which is good. So let's get that going. So we'll plug that in. And you got to be careful not to plug the USB-C into the USB port. It actually, they call it AC adapter, but it's USB-C, so that will plug into there. And then close the door. I kind of like that. It's very nice. Good little cable management going there. All right, so put that over here. And then we will hook this up to our power strip down there. And now what I will do is go ahead and get this thing hooked up and running. So we've got the monitors on. And I'm going to say, let me go back to, oops. Oh, no, hit the wrong button. Hang on a second. All right, so now it's going to say here, I'm going to have it connect to TV just because I think it might be easier for you all to see that. So hit connect. All right, so now it wants me to detach the Joy-Con controllers from the console. You know, one thing with this is I can see kids dropping this as they're doing this switchover. So that might be why all the marketing has been kind of on millennials. All right, so use the left stick to select next. Oh, I see. So the stick now, I'll put this up here so you can see. The stick works here. So I'm going to hit next. Let's see. Oh, to hit A on this side. All right. So I use both of them. All right. So it's guiding me through the process now of what I need to do. I've already done all this stuff. So I'm going to put it in to the dock here. And so you know what it is? Those guides are touching on the bezel. And you know what's funny? It doesn't snap in. It just kind of rests on it. It's kind of neat. So it's not that big of an effort to pull it out. So here it is. And then let's drop it down. And that's it. So there's no like snap in. It just kind of falls into it. And that's it. So that's pretty easy. Now the monitor I have here is a 1080p monitor. So that is what we're using here. Let's get a little bit better of an image there. Okay, so now what? Let's go and walk through the rest of the process here. So success. I could hit A on this side. It would have been nice if they just made you hit the clicker on there. That's your icon and nickname. Who do I want to be? I got to say, I'm not too crazy about the accuracy of this stick. It really is kind of, I don't know. And I'm feeling a little bit of a lag. It just could be the monitor. Oh, I can use my Me. Let's try that. I have no idea if I can remember what my Nintendo login is. Let's see. Choose a start from scratch. Oh, I don't want to do this all over again. So you can't, looks like you can't bring in your Me that you had at one point. So I'm just going to be Mario here. Actually, I like Pikmin. I'm going to be this Pikmin here. All right, let's do him. All right. And I'll just call this Me. Another thing, it would have been nice if you could hit the button here to get uppercase, but that's not the case. So go down to Shift. Yeah, this stick does not feel accurate to me. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there we go. Oops. Oh no. B. There we go. Ah! I'm totally messing this up. Oh, okay. Now I got it. All right. Now I have to hit the plus button to keep going here. Okay. I've been added to the console. All right. I'm going to skip this because my wife will play with this later, so we'll add her in there maybe if she wants to. There are parental controls. Somebody asked me to go over this in my review, which I will do. So I'm going to come back to this later because I want to get this set up first. All right. So now setup is complete, so we can hit the home button. Insert a game or download software. So here's the thing. There is no pack-in with this, which is why, of course, they do these bundles to get you to buy stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is start off with Zelda, because I have no intention of playing this one. So the only game I have right now is Zelda. And let me make sure I haven't missed anything in the chat here. All right, so I'll keep going. All right. So let's put this in here. Yeah, so far it's not been too difficult here. So I'll put the game card in the top of the device there, so it just snaps in. Let me cut to the other image here again so you can see how that goes in. Actually, you know what I'll do? Let's pull it out real quick. I like how it does seamlessly go back and forth here. That's pretty nice. And we'll see how it works in game. So here we've got the cartridge. So it just kind of goes in like so. And I'll just snap it in like that. And you know what? One thing I like about this concept of going back to a cartridge is that you don't have the issue of updates. And well, maybe there are updates, but everything just loads up right away. Because if you've ever obviously played a more recent game, you certainly know that your game installs for who knows how long on these other consoles. So I'm going to put this in here. All right, so now we've got the controller here. You know what's funny is this feels too wide when the controllers are on the end of it, and this feels too narrow. There's no happy medium. So I'm going to say I'm not feeling as comfortable with this controller. This is on first impression. This is not as comfortable to me as other Nintendo controllers have been. It feels a little too narrow for me. I'm not digging this. I wish this was a little wider. And it could be. They could make another stand for it, I guess. All right, so let's go and play the game here. Let's see what else we got down here. We got news. Let's see if there's any news. New system. Oh, of course the new system version is available. We know you're itching to start playing some games. All right, you know what I think what I'm going to do here is not do this right away because I have a feeling this is going to take a while, and I just want to start the game here to see how it plays, and then I'll take some questions and we'll do the update. There's an album, controllers, and I think my controllers are going to need a charge at some point also. I only got one notch on the battery there too. All right, so let's load up Zelda here. Oh, you got to do the system update anyhow. So we're going to do the update, and we'll let this do its thing here. So I'm going to put a break on the recording and take some questions while we do the update. And hopefully this doesn't take all that long, but it might. So what I'll do is, oh, it's already complete. How about that? Now that's an unusual thing that the update was that quick. I remember when the Wii U came out, I actually wrote an article for a local website I was writing for, and the article was about that you really should do the update before you give it to your kids so you don't ruin Christmas, because it was like 4 hours or 3 hours to do the update. So it was crazy. All right. Well, how about that? The thing looks totally different than when I first booted. Okay, there we go. So now we are good to go here. So, and it's telling me that my controllers are connected. Some options, huh? Let's see what the options are. Maybe that was a software update via the internet. Oh, so there's an update for Zelda already too. That might take a while. All right, let me take some questions here while we're waiting for this update to go through, and I'll... Yeah, everyone's talking about the cartridge. I am not licking the cartridge. I take everyone's word for it that it tastes horrible. Yeah, Saturn Otaku's making some good points on here, because this really, for all intents and purposes, this is a NVIDIA Shield. Actually, I'm going to be testing some games out for it soon, so maybe I'll do another stream when I get clear to do that. I think that this is probably the NVIDIA Shield's guts, more or less. I think it might have some improvements to the NVIDIA Shield since it first came out about 2 years ago, but as we've seen, I'm talking about the TV version of it, because as we've seen, the Shield TV hasn't been updated forever because these Shield chips are so fast. Like the tablet's been out for 3 years, the NVIDIA Shield tablet, and they haven't changed a thing with it because it's still more powerful than just about any other tablet on the market, and it's only $200. So if you're looking for a good Android tablet, this one is it. All right, looks like it stopped downloading and then it found another update. So we'll let this thing go through and do its thing. And I'm guessing that it must store the updates on the cartridge. So there must be some kind of flash memory involved with it. But I do prefer the cartridge thing to the hard drive. And I guess there is a SD card slot on it also. So we'll take a look at that. All right, let me go down here and just organize my windows here. So I want to make sure I don't miss anybody in case anyone does a super chat. I want to make sure I catch that. All right, so there we go. All right, so let's take, oh, Jeff Elder, thank you very much for the super chat. Right when I moved the window, you popped up in there. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the super chat. Let's see what we got for other folks. AWS Tutorial is wondering if I have the Pro controller yet, and I do not. So I'll probably get one and review it, because I'm not digging this controller. I think this is, it's just, my hands feel cramped with it. So I would prefer something a little wider, but not as wide as it is on the screen there. So that is a good question to ask there. Limited power of the GPU, as we covered that one. Yeah, $70 Thai Dingaline. Yeah, they charge $70 for the Pro controller, which is nuts. So I'm guessing, because I'm hearing that these are really compatible, the Bluetooth in these things. So I'm guessing that you could probably get other options to go with that. And you know what? I wonder how you charge these controllers. Let's take a look at that. So how do we get this thing out of here? So these, let me switch back here. So these slide out just like they do on the main thing, and there's also a click. Hear that? They've done a nice job. See, it's funny, when you're designing hardware, there's these little subtleties that make a big difference. And those clicks are really important for consumers. So I'm not sure how to charge these things. I'm guessing that you've got to plug them into the tablet when it's on the desk in order to do that. So that's probably how they charge, like that. Because it doesn't look like there's any USB input on these. So in some ways, it's good that if your controller dies, then you attach it to the tablet, and then it'll charge through the tablet component. So that's cool. Would have been neat if they put a battery in that part there, so you can get a little bit extra out of it, but that doesn't look like to be the case. All right, so let's go back here. I'm just going to start the game and see if it lets me. Oh, let's let me in. All right, so it's probably downloading the update in the background, but I'll go ahead and play the game. All right, so a couple more questions that came in here. Do the Nintendo Switch have apps like Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon? It doesn't at the moment, but I believe it will soon. It has nothing right now. There's like 4 games out for it and a few things online that you can get for it, but that is it. And by the way, I don't have sound on either because of Nintendo. They don't like YouTubers reviewing their products, so I'm not doing that. All right, so I'm going to start the recording again. So for the extras channel, so here we go. We've got the game starting up here, and it looks like our character is waking up. Now, from what I gather, from what I've heard about this game, is that it will remind a lot of folks of the original Nintendo Legend of Zelda on the original Nintendo, because you're kind of starting from a place where you kind of have to figure out where you need to go. So here we go. Wake up, Link. Like he's in one of those sensory deprivation chambers. Maybe he's a Cylon. I haven't played a Zelda game all the way through since Zelda 2 when I was in like junior high school. So that could be what's going on there. Kashi, no, I don't have a Pro Controller yet. Let's see, we'll take some more questions while Link is waking up in his sensory deprivation pool there. I'm sure Betamax will be a bundle for everything, and I'm sure a lot of retailers will do those bundles. I think GameStop is taking pre-orders for like $500 with a whole bunch of stuff connected to it. All right, so Link is awake here. Wait for him to... I'm almost sorry I don't hear the sound right now, but I don't have speakers on this monitor. And I'm reluctant to have the sound be anywhere audible so that Nintendo's robots can pick it up and take my revenue away. Iriko, no, I've not reviewed this monitor yet. I need to. The reason, I just haven't gotten to it, and now that I have more time, I think I will. Because it's kind of a neat monitor. It's 1080p. It's got the thin bezels like many of them do now, but it's 75 hertz, this monitor, this Lenovo monitor. And I'll put a link to it somewhere. I'll get to that so you can find it. It's not bad. I think it's pretty inexpensive also. So it does a little bit better than 60p. And the graphics look okay. They're not blowing me away here. It's not any better than the Wii U. And now, granted, I just booted this thing up. I think it's going to take a while for people to really take advantage of this. Okay, this is the Sheikah Slate. Take it. It will help guide you after your long slumber. So we'll grab that real quick. And Josh Brown, I'm going to take this out of the display in out of the whatever this thing is in a second, so you can get a feel for how the display looks. I'm impressed with the display. In fact, it looks better than any of the videos you've seen on YouTube. It doesn't photograph as well or video as well as some other stuff has. So I'm using the thing here. All right, the mysterious tablet with a glowing center, just like a Nintendo Switch, perhaps. All right, so we'll go out of here. There is some vibration in here. I just felt it buzz me. I guess it's on one of those sticks. It has that HD thing. I'll tell you what, I am not a big fan of these controllers, to be honest with you. I mean, this is early going here, but they're very sensitive because there isn't a lot of room to move the stick here. So that might be why that Pro Controller might be more attractive to folks, because there's no dead zone because there isn't any room for it. But it feels like it's going to take some getting used to, especially for doing the fine movements and whatnot. All right, so let's open some things up here. Oh, he just kicked that. Old shirt. All right. Maybe we should put the shirt on him. So put the, there we go, equip that. All right, get this boy some pants. Get that open here. You think he would not do the same thing again if he already stubbed his toe the first time. All right, we'll equip that. There's definitely a softness to the image here that I'm seeing. Maybe it's just what their intention for the game. What's also of note here as I'm playing with this, the stick here located lower, at least when I have it in the docking thing here, doesn't feel as uncomfortable to me as I expected it to. I thought having it centrally located was kind of weird, centrally located on the Joy-Con was weird. And I think it will be when you're using it by itself like that, but here it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of similar to how the Xbox controller is laid out, and you have your other buttons there. Let me take a few more questions here. We got another super chat from Frog Splash Fish, and thanking me for my WD MyCloud vids. Well, thank you. I hope they were helpful. I appreciate your contribution to the channel. Let's go through here. So I must have to hit the thing here to do that. Yeah, so I think maybe it's just the art style here. This is kind of reminiscent of Wind Waker, which was kind of the cel-shaded graphics that they were doing on that game. So I'm not seeing a lot of sharpness to these graphics here. And again, I think it's due to the fact that this is really not going to be a very powerful system, especially at 1080p. There's a YouTuber I was watching the other day who was doing a live stream, Robert Santolin, and he noted, and we're going to probably see this when we get out into the world here, that the The system has a hard time at 1080p with certain things in this game. Not bad, but there's some lag with grass blowing and things in the scene there. So I think they're really pushing what this processor is doing. And I would imagine that what they did is they probably said, can we build a tablet that can give us a Wii U experience? And when we can, we should do it. And I think that's probably what they're doing here. So I think a lot of what we're going to see on here today will likely be what we see later with it, because it is a, I'm going to climb this thing here. It is, climb, oh, X, there we go. There he goes. Because again, I think this is definitely pushing the limits here as to what we can see. Even some of the grass effects here looks nice, but I've seen better on my computer, obviously, and I've seen better on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. So, but still, it's kind of a neat vista here. So it's not powerful, but it is going, I think, not going to be as powerful as existing consoles that have been out for a couple of years. I think it's really going to be kind of a similar experience with the Wii U. I think what they're hoping for here, again, I'm just speculating based on what I'm seeing for the first time, but I'm not seeing graphics that are blowing me away here. I think what they're banking on here is that there is a desire to take the game with you, whether it's to share the TV with family members or something else. So let's see. It's kind of neat how they're purposely making it so you have to follow that guy here, because if I jump down there, I'll probably die. Yeah, so I don't know. The shadows aren't looking all that great to me. And this could just be the art style of this game. So maybe I should pick up one of the other games in the store and get a feel for it. And one of the things that I was mentioning, the YouTuber Robert Santolin, what he noticed was that the grass was kind of having a hard time keeping up as he was walking through the world. I'm not seeing any lag just yet. Let's take this. All right, so I got some tree branches in my inventory. I already damaged my tree branch. I think you can charge up your attack here, and then, yeah, so it's a traditional Zelda kind of thing here. Let's climb down. I do like this open world Zelda, though. It's really, really cool. But yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of detail in the rocks here, for example. So and again, it could just be the art style of this game, but it looks like they put more work into the textures on our little guy here. And my understanding from a teardown that I saw just recently is that this has 4 gigabytes of RAM. And I'm not sure how much of that is split between the GPU and the general computing processes on it. But again, I'm really not seeing all that much detail in these rocks here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it back in the tablet holder so you can see what it looks like there. And let's take these Joy-Cons out. And so now I'm going to take this off of the thing here. You can see it automatically shifted just immediately. This thing is actually pretty warm. I'm guessing that it's probably charging its internal battery at the same time. And okay, so now it wants me to push the 2 buttons on the top of the controller here. Plus left, right on the controller. I'm going to do this. Press left plus right on the controller. That's what I'm doing. Press A when you're ready. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're doing this. Let me zoom the camera in a little bit so you can get a feel for how it looks on screen. There we go. And the game actually looks better on this little screen than it does on the TV. Again, because we're running at 720p on the display here. The touch screen doesn't do anything in this game. I would imagine there'll be games coming out soon that will. But I kind of like that flexibility that I could take this and just pop it out like that. And there's really no delay here. I just pop it into the base and I'm back on the other larger screen. And then I can take it with me here. I almost bet you that these are going to be popular in multiple numbers, like having a couple of these in your house. Because I could see me putting this onto a couple different TVs around my place here. But I'll zoom in a little bit closer there for you so you can see what the display looks like. And we go back out of here. It wants me to use the Shake-a slate. I'll set destination. All right. Oops, set destination. All right, so I'm good there. So now I'm going to close this out, and I guess we'll follow It is a pretty game, as you can see. But you can see even like some, and again, it could just be the art style, but the lighting looks kind of wacky. Like the shadows look like what they look like here. So I'm not blown away here by these graphics. I'm going to try to get, I may grab a couple of games before I do the review off the online store just to get a feel for how all of it works. And I can take out my stick here. Let's try to do another attack. So let's charge it up here. There's a good degree of physics here. I mean, the grass is definitely responding to the movement. Well, that's cool. Little camera thing. All right, now I want to test something here. So you can see it's running pretty well here. And Martin Paoloni, thank you very much for your frequent comments on the channel and for your contribution there. That's very, very nice. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that greatly. And yes, it's going to be a wild ride. As many of you may or may not know, I left my day job last week. Things worked out well for me in a whole bunch of areas, so it made that possible. But I figured, hey, you know what? If I'm going to do this, let's just do it. And that's what I did. All right, so now the thing has switched back over. I'm going to take the Joy-Cons off here. All right, and it's recommending that I use the grip accessory. It's not required, but I think it's probably just for ergonomics here that we do that. So let me slide this down like so. And put that one in here like this. And one of the things that Robert Santolin, who I was watching the other night, he was encountering this issue with the grass kind of slowing things down. I'm not seeing that here. It doesn't feel like it's any more sluggish than it is on the little screen. But I have to say, it looks better on the little screen than it does on this big one. And I'm sitting close to this screen, so that's probably a contributing factor. But yes, I went after the squirrel. It's a fake squirrel. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a game that is probably targeted at 720p, and it will look better at 1080 when you're not sitting so close to the TV. That's my gut on this. I can switch weapons with, oops. Oh, I see, I can switch weapons this way. So hold that down and then switch, okay. And everything you're hearing here from everybody as I'm doing the stream, this is my first impressions here. So the review, I'll do a little bit more after I've had some time to play with it. It is my job now, of course, to play video games, or at least partially. I'm not, you know, I really am not going to turn this into a gaming channel just because gaming is hard to break into. So I'm going to stick to my hardware reviews. So I'll be probably more hardware focused here, but I'll give my overall impressions of it because I'm really more interested in this console for what it might mean for Nintendo moving forward. Because this is, I think, kind of, it could be their last hurrah as a hardware company. I don't think they're going out of business anytime soon. And like I said, I hadn't really intended to buy this right away, but I was able to find one close to launch, and I figured it'd be fun to do a review on it. All right, so let's see if we can beat this guy up with a stick. I have a feeling this is not going to go well. Maybe I should go where it's telling me to go to get my to get my sword. But this feels like a really cool open world thing, and this might be kind of fun just to have the ability to play this on the road, or if my wife's watching TV or something, I could. See, now it just kind of slowed down a little bit right there. Felt a little bit of lag as I was going through that. See that? It's hard to see, but I sensed it as I walked through there. So let's go back and do it one more time. There might be some buffering that it's doing to drop something into cache or something, but it definitely buffered a little bit. I want to find a spot where I can find a good example of a little bit of lag on one versus the other. And I can't wait for all the techies to like start doing their work on this thing, because I have a feeling they're going, because here's the thing, we're at 1080p here. There should be more going on here when I disconnect it. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be going that quickly, because if you're upscaling or actually converting the output resolution, I just got killed. The output resolution to 1080p, this process I think should take longer unless they've got some crazy software going on here. So some things, what is that? Oh my goodness. I cannot hope to fight that thing. So let's just get out of there. Let's do a little lag test with this thing here and see what happens. Yeah, we're just going to run away. Ooh. Yeah, we're going to go this way. See where we end up. I'm going to keep following the marker here until we get to where we're going. But it looks cool. I wonder if there's a map or something I could see where, maybe we have to get the map first. I do think I'm going to spend a lot of time in this game. It's really Nintendo, here's the thing, Nintendo makes great games. They really do. And this could, again, be their last hardware hurrah, but I think they'll be making games for quite a while. So I am picking up a small amount of lag as I'm moving around here. So, it could just be that they haven't yet optimized yet, but there was a good slowdown right there. So I have a feeling that you're not going to be blown away by the visuals on these games, or they'll do some things to try to enhance it as best they can. There's a lot of pop-in going on right now with this grass also as I'm moving forward through here also. You can see the blades of grass popping in. Let me zoom in a little bit and see if you can see that. You get a feel for that. Oops. So keep an eye on that grass out there as I walk towards it. See that? Kind of draws in. So that is something to keep in mind on that front. All right, so zoom out a little bit more here. Very cool. So what I'd love to get from you all in the chat room, and by the way, I'm not playing this game. So I would love to get some ideas from all of you on Dingledine. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name earlier, so I apologize for that. I would love to get from all of you. Let me just actually, let me do an outro on the Extras channel. All right, so that is the game system being unpacked and booted up. I want to thank you all for watching my Extras channel, and we will have a full review up soon at Lon.TV. Stay tuned, more to come. All right, that part's done. So now let's go over to the rest of this thing here. So by the way, I can record on the same thing that I'm streaming out on, so I can kind of get some production done here while I'm chatting with all of you. So I would love to get from all of you some games that I should look for in the online store there. And let me take a look at the chat room here a little bit. Yes, Nino Smartboy. Yes, I got this from B&H Photo and Video. Again, I didn't expect to buy this when I did, but they had one when I was looking for other stuff. This is pretty cool, though. I got to tell you, this is kind of fun to have a Zelda game. Look at that. Out in the distance, there's that volcano. So I'm sure they're doing some tricks here to get this to draw in like this. And I like the fact that this is on a cartridge because you don't have the optical disc issues. And you have very low load times on it. Really neat. All right, let's see how we get out of the game here now. So let's hit the home button. Feels very Spartan on its interface right now. I wonder if there's a way to kill the game here without, let's close software. All right, close. Let's take a look at the eShop now and see what's available to purchase. And right now the tablet is charging. So one of the things that I'll look at in the review is how long the battery lasts on it. I have a feeling this game is going to take a lot out of it. I'm feeling the heat coming out of it right now also. So there is a fan on the top of it here. And that video that I linked to the other day had a pretty good overview of it as far as how that works. So let's go into the store here. Oh, so I got to sign in and link my Nintendo account. So now I've got to go figure out what that one is. Let's see. I've had like 1 million different Nintendo accounts over the years, so I need to figure out which one it is. I can use up an external account. That might help. Let me take a look here and see what I have. So I'm just going to pop in here. So let's take a few more questions while I'm looking around for my thing here. Lots of people on YouTube say the controller, after making it into a single controller, looks like a dog face. Do I see it? I guess if you pull one of them out, maybe it could look like a dog. Carlson7 says there is a charge grip, but it doesn't come with the console. Let's see. You have a screen guard for the tablet. I do not. I just got it as is. I'm actually eager to see if it does scratch up. I don't want to scratch up my tablet, but let me show you actually while we're messing around with the Nintendo account here. I need to get a producer. So this is how it sits in here. So it doesn't quite touch the sides, and The things it does touch are it touches the bezel. So that's partly why there's a large bezel on here, because that's what kind of guides it in. So perhaps that might help you a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to see when I spend some more time with it. But there is some play in there. And again, it's only touching where the bezels are on this. So you can see there is a bit of an air gap there. Not a lot, but I could see it if you're not careful with it. I could see it scratching when it goes in. No question about it. BB Garnett says the game is very massive and it just lets you roam and figure things out as you go. And I kind of like that, because I really, you know, the first Zelda game, I remember when I got it, because my brother was just born, so I think it was, actually maybe it was before he was born, I can't remember. No, he was born in '87, so it was probably around that time. It was right around the time my brother was born, so I think I was probably 12 or 13. How old was I? No, I was 11. I was 11 or 12, that's what it was. And now there wasn't any media for games back then, or at least any significant one. Nintendo Power wasn't even out yet, or it wasn't even available yet. And I was at the store, and I think my father just wanted to get me a game or something, so I would just leave everybody alone while the baby was getting attended to. And I was more than happy to be left alone with a video game. So he's like, pick one out. And they had this box. I kept seeing it at the store. It was this gold cartridge. I was like, wow. And in fact, I've got my wife's copy of it up on the shelf here. And all of you who follow Nintendo know that the gold cartridge. So in the box, you saw this part in gold, and it was like, wow, this must be a special game if it's all gold. And I kept seeing it, never, I didn't have money to get it because these things were expensive. But what was interesting was, and I still remember to this day the price of this. So many Nintendo games on launch were about $29. This is back in '86, '87. This one was $37.99 or something. So it cost a little more than some of the other games did. Although I think around the time that I got this, somewhere in the $50 range. And finally, I just said, oh, you know what? I didn't really see anything else that was intriguing me, but there was something about this game that was really interesting. So I just bought it, or my dad bought it for me. And I took it home and I booted it up, and I was just like, wow. Because you know what it was, is that you had to figure it out. Like there wasn't any tutorial, and you have to understand too, games at the time did not have that depth to them, at least on consoles. So on the PCs or on the Apples and the IBMs and whatever, and the Commodores, you had Ultima and these other role-playing games. But I never really got into those because I didn't really have anyone around me that played them, that I was hanging out with. All my friends were into the quicker games. So I just never got into the longer playing games. And this was really like the first role-playing game that I played. And it was really awesome because it wasn't as intense as those games were, and it was action-oriented. So it kind of melded the two. And I spent a lot of time on this one. I finished it eventually, but I think I needed Nintendo Power because there's certain parts of the game you just couldn't find unless somebody knew where to look for things, which bush to burn or how to get out of the maze or whatever. So give me a second here. I just want to go in and find my password for my Nintendo. There's like a gazillion things on here. There's Nintendo, there's Club Nintendo. Let me go see what I can't even remember what my password is on this thing. All right, so I think I have the one I need to use here. So let me just go in and do this real quick. Oops, sign in and link. Because Nintendo's done a lot of different things over the years here, and I'll take some more questions while you guys are waiting for me to do all this stuff here. All right. By the way, I do, for those of you who want to rewind while I'm poking around on here, I set up it to do the DVR thing, so I think you can go back to when I first started the stream here. So let me just go in and type in my email address and whatever on here. Somebody asked if it takes Bluetooth keyboards. That will be something I might look at, because this is, you know what? I have an idea. Let me go grab my other thing over here and see if it works, because that would be really cool if it did. Because there are two USB connectors on the side of the dock here, so I might be able to use these with my little Logitech adapter. And let's see. Turn it on here. Oh, look at that. It works. So check this out, everybody. I have a Logitech keyboard and mouse combo. The mouse part doesn't work. I wouldn't expect it to, but the keyboard works. Look at that. That's cool. And this is not a Bluetooth, well, it is a Bluetooth keyboard, but it's also working with a dongle here that I attached to the side. But it comes out as a standard USB keyboard and mouse. So if you have a USB keyboard, it looks like it'll work. We'll try Bluetooth at some point also, but that makes it a lot easier. So that's cool. I don't even know if this is my correct Nintendo account. Let's go. Now the tab key, though, does not get you to the next screen there. So let's go down to the next one here, so plus, and then I'll type in my password. I'll tell you what, the interface compared to the Wii and the Wii U feels very Spartan. It was funny, the Wii U felt like a continuation of the Wii. This is a whole new interface. It lacks a lot of stuff. So we'll see what the store looks like. All right, I am good to go here. I agree. And now we'll wait for everything to come together. I'll take some more questions. I want to thank everybody for your super chats, too. That was very nice of all of you who have done that so far. Let's see. It's good that the dock does charge. There's been a lot of, yes, so the dock charges, as far as I know. We'll see. Ryan DeJesus says, loves my videos, but there is a little bit of misinformation I'm giving in this video. What might that be? I don't know. So Endgame, his Switch has some dead pixels. He's going to call Nintendo. You know, that's one of those things. These screens are hard to make. And I think early on, I'm sure that Nintendo is probably pushing their manufacturing partners to really get these things produced. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a higher level of stuff not working properly. All right, so my account is linked up here. So we have all this stuff. You can try the new online service. Oh, that's right. You have to pay for the online thing now, right? So online gameplay. And you know what I'll do on coming up? If you want to follow me on Facebook at Lon.TV/Facebook, I'll put whatever my code is in there so you can follow me. Okay, so this is cool. So they're going to give you a monthly game download similar to what I guess you have on Xbox. And they're doing classic games. That's clever because they have a huge back catalog. Hopefully the emulation on those is better. All right, your Nintendo account is linked to your Nintendo Switch console, and you can enjoy some features for free. Why not check it out? Why not? Until, of course, they charge your credit card at the end of the thing because you forgot about it, but we'll see. Here we go. SSF on the Chromebook, email me because I can't negotiate in the middle of this. So send me a note on that. The SD slot is behind the kickstand on this. Right, so I have to put an SD card in there for sure. And somebody's saying that the Zelda game is 900p, which that wouldn't surprise me actually, because it is looking a little cloudy on my display here, so I wouldn't be surprised about that. Endgame, it's very hard to chat and actually do. So what I'm doing here is a real-time evaluation of this. So I figured I would involve all of you in it. So if that's not something people like, I won't do that. But I think most people on the stream are enjoying just watching me try to figure this thing out. So let me just type in my password here and get this going. And we'll get the rest of the thing going. We'll see what's in the store. Now, by the way, I'm not spending that much money here, everybody, because I'm on a fixed income now. I got to be very careful about how I do this stuff. All right, so here are some recent releases. So you can download the game for $60 that we just played. 1-2 Switch is $50. That's crazy. The prices seem a little high to me, like Shovel Knight here, $25. Although maybe that's the. So people have been talking about Fast RMX being a lot of fun. So maybe I'll grab that. That's $20. That's not bad. And somebody else was saying that Snipper Clips was fun also. So maybe I'll let's just start with Fast RMX here and see what this is all about. It's like a racing game. It's funny, if you want to be a developer that's successful, get your game out right when the system is launched because you can do really well with that. All right, so we'll go to proceed to purchase. And we'll switch back here. I may have to put my credit card in. They may already have my credit card, which is probably the case. All right, for my thing in there. All right, send that. All right. Oops. Ah. I'm getting confused. I keep hitting the B button when I want to move to the next screen. And it's weird. Sometimes they have you hit plus. Sometimes they have you hit A. All right. Let's see what happens here. Oh, you got to add funds to your Nintendo account. How about that? Let me go do that real quick. I'm about to merge my Nintendo eShop funds. Okay. What's that mean? Oh, so I can link my other. Okay, I don't think I have any funds in anything here. So let's go and merge. Let me merge and see what happens. Yeah, I didn't think I had any money in there. Okay, so let's go confirm that. Required amount only. The nice thing is they do allow you to pay only what's required, because I remember in the early days of the Xbox, you had to do some other crazy stuff with that. So let me pull up my credit card info here. Sorry, everybody. It's kind of like watching paint dry sometimes when you're doing these initial evaluations, but that is the ropes here. So let's go through here and pull up my thing here. All right, so this is, oh, I can type it in on the keyboard because I have a keyboard here. So let me just type that in real quick. If anybody wants my credit card number, let me know down in the comment section, and then I'll cancel it for you. All right, so we're good there. So I'll send that. Oops, I have to go one more over here. Expiration date. It is easier with the keyboard attached for sure. So if you have a keyboard, definitely use it. All right, so down to, I've hit right. You know, everything about this interface, it's funny, the interface, it works differently depending on what you're doing. So it wants me now to use the right key. I need to like progress to the next field, but if I hit send, it tells me that I need to fill in more information. There we go. Okay. And then you type that in, and that, and then the zip code. Type it in with the keyboard. All right. Oh, they don't take Discover. All right, so let's go back out of here. And I'll pull up my other one here. So let me take a couple questions while I'm trying to get my act together here. Toze's, does it run Ouya games? No, not quite. You know, I did think, though, that it was going to run Android games. Now, Toze's Leal has been with me from the early days. So one of my first game console reviews was the Ouya, which was an Android console, but they had developed their own interface to it. And I really liked it because at the time you could buy these cheap Android consoles, but none of them actually worked with the TV. They didn't really have a TV-centric interface, and the Ouya really achieved a lot of that. Let's see. Yeah, by the way, somebody else has wrote in here about Metal Jesus Rocks. He has a great thing on his channel today about the people that are redoing Monster World, one of the old classics that they're doing as a modern one. All right, let's see here. Okay, so now I've got to go back in and see here. So I'm going to miss a couple of chats here while I'm trying to screw around with this credit card thing. Just give me a second. See, I have my numbers stored in a secure thing, and I don't want to take my credit cards out by accident and have somebody see them on screen. So I'm doing it the hard way here, but almost done. Let's see. Not that I don't trust all of you, of course, but there could be somebody watching that doesn't know me, that I don't know you. You know, like who knows what could happen. So we're going to be very careful here. Hit the A button on that one again. All right, so fill all that number out and put the new number in. It's good they have a couple of $20 titles on there, because some of these games can get pretty expensive. Now, what I am going to get for this is probably one of those, probably a 128 gig micro SD card, because I'm sure that will be something that will be helpful there. Oops, I got the wrong. No. I got the wrong thing. It's taking it? No, it's making me start over again. The interface is horrible. They need to work on this because they're not making it easy for me to give them my money. All right, so we got that. So I'm supposed to hit like left and right to progress to the next field, and I can't do that. It doesn't let me. If I hit send, then it sends the whole form over. but I can't progress down the tabs. I wish I could show you because it's got my credit card number on the screen, but it's not intuitive. All right, so I'm going to hit send, and then it gives me an invalid expiration date, of course, because it's not in there yet. Put that in there. All right. And go down to this one here and put in that number. And then hit that, and then we'll go over to my zip code. All right. I do want to say something too about Nintendo's hardware strategy, because they have been doing the same thing forever, which is they don't always release the highest powered device. They release something that is good enough to get their games to work. And I think that's an important point here that I will be considering when I'm doing the review on this. All right, so I purchased the game. So where does it show up? How do I download it? There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to scoot back over to our other view here. So now it's downloading here. And you actually get a real thing now that gives you an idea as to how long it takes to download versus the little Mario jumping with the coins on the old version there. So let me go back over to our chat window here and make sure we're still streaming, which we are. The good news is the stream's been working the whole time. So that's good. Martin Paoloni tells me that Linus did that. He actually tweeted out his whole credit card. Leo Laporte has done that a few times also. I'm trying to be more careful about it. So what's scary is that it's so easy. I can just hit this and switch switch camera views, so it can happen. So Danny310 wants to know, why can't Nintendo make a traditional console with PS4 quality graphics? You know what? I think that really is what I think you probably said that before I said my thing, but I think that's been Nintendo's strategy, is that they don't always have the best hardware. Even the Super Nintendo, let me pull the game back up here and see if it'll download in the background. Even the Super Nintendo was not as powerful as the Genesis, which there will be arguments about, but the CPU certainly wasn't. But you can see there's a lot of pop-in going, so watch this thing right there. It's going to disappear in a second. Maybe not. Huh, yep, there it's gone. And then you'll see it just pop up. Watch it, and there it is. So these open world games are tough, as you all know. If you've ever tried to play GTA 5 on a PC, you're always out trying to get things going here. But it does seem to be running pretty nicely, though. I mean, for what it is, and the game feels pretty tight. So I think that's a good thing. And I think with Nintendo, you know what you're getting. So you're not going to get a AAA PC kind of experience. You're going to get what Nintendo thinks is best for making their games. And given the fact that I think we'll see a lot of Wii U games ported over to this, and the fact that this really is a Wii U game, gives you an idea as to where the power is. This is really not going to be any more powerful, in my mind, than the Wii U is, but you have the ability to do this and take it with you. And I think there is a compelling argument for that. In case anyone's wondering, the battery is definitely charging while I'm playing here. So it was about 35% before, and now it's at 42%. So that is working. And I do like how seamless that transition is from one to the other. That's really decent. So let me hit the home button here. Let's see how our download is coming along. And it did. It was downloading in the background, so that's good. So it does have some degree of multitasking, that it can at least run its operating system and do some stuff in the background while you're waiting, so that's good. We're almost done downloading that game. I'll take a few more questions while I'm doing that. Yes, I mean, the question is, do you need to buy this right now? And I mean, the answer I think is no, because there's really nothing available for it. I mean, there's a couple of games out, but the holiday season I think will bring more. I think what Nintendo's trying to do here, again, they're betting this is their hardware bet here. If this doesn't work, they need, and it's my opinion, but if this doesn't work, I think they've got to get out of the hardware business, because it's pointless. I mean, their shareholders are not going to let them keep playing with this hardware stuff like this and not make any money. I think this was a smart move, because I don't see this being a very complex piece of hardware. It's pre-existing. I think NVIDIA had something that they could easily adapt. I wouldn't be surprised if NVIDIA's hardware engineers had a lot of input into the overall design of the console here. It doesn't feel like the Switch or like the Shield tablet does, but looking at this, it is not a complex piece of hardware. This is well-known things that work. Motion controllers. I mean, obviously there was a lot of industrial design here. I don't want to minimize that because things really fit nicely together. This is not easy to do, to make things feel like this. This feels good. But there's not a lot of risk being taken here beyond, the pivot here from the Wii U to this. So, it's got to work. And if it doesn't, then, something else is going to have to be done with this. Because I think Nintendo games are great. I really enjoy their games, and I want them to succeed as a company. And I really don't like the way they treat reviewers because they go after people. Even Boogie2988 was concerned they might be taking his revenue away because he actually had a full screen image of something that one of the games as he was reviewing it. All right, so the download is done. That didn't take all that long. I don't know how big the game was, but let's boot it up and see what happens. So, all right, let's close the Zelda game. I may lose something, but it's fine. I'll start over again. Oops, I'll select myself here. I like the multi-user aspect to this also. I mean, I know the other consoles do it too, but I like that they make it that easy. All right, so I have two options here. I can use it like that. Okay, I'll just try it like this and see what happens. So I'll hit left, right, and then hit A when I'm ready. Actually, let's go back to multiplayer hero mode. Let's try championship here. Yeah, I tell you what, like, it looks okay, but it's looking like there's upscaling going on here from a lower resolution. All right, let's see here. This runs smoothly, at least from what I'm seeing here. They got some phantom drones here, it looks like. Let's see how this works here. So let's go. I wish I had a way to get an idea as to the frames per second I'm seeing here. It feels like 60, maybe. Looks good. The control is pretty tight. I do think it controls very nicely. It's a very fast game. Wow, it's even faster now. This is kind of like the F-Zero for the Switch. I will say, sitting this close to the display, it's not. It doesn't look as sharp as you might see on your Xbox One with a similar kind of game. I think there's certainly some upscaling going on here. Not from the monitor, but just from the console itself. Woo! Off we go into the ether. And when the controller goes off here, I'm feeling some vibration, but it's rattling the entire mechanism here. So it feels like it's making a louder sound. It's not a huge sound. You can hear it here when I put it up to the mic here so you can get a feel for it. I need to hit a good... So it kind of vibrates the whole thing here as I'm going. Is there any weapons in this game, or you just drive? I want to shoot these guys. Let's see. I guess Mario Kart is coming out next, and it's a kind of a port of Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U, so it'll probably add some features or whatever. But you can switch phase. Press X to switch phase. What does that mean? Oh, I see. It's like different color. Oh, I see. You must have to change your color or something. Okay, makes sense. It's blue and orange there. Yeah, so it plays pretty good. This is like one of those typical games that comes packed in, right? Like or is available at launch. It's cool, but not like, a good demonstration game perhaps, but it will be eclipsed, I'm sure, before long. So yeah, so I'm not really blown away here by the graphical quality of this console. I think it feels very much like a Wii U to me, and this is, again, just playing it in the first 20 minutes or hour, however long it's been since I started the stream, hour and 8 minutes ago. So, it's what I expected it to be graphically, and I think for Nintendo, graphics don't matter. They matter to some degree. I think resolution for them is probably important, but, as we saw, like the Wii, which was, around for a long time, was really kind of an upgraded GameCube. This is sort of like an upgraded Wii U. I just don't think it's any more powerful than the Wii U is. It just adds this ability to take your thing on the road here. So I can grab this, take it out, and now the game's running on the tablet. And I think that component is really neat. And you can hear the fan going here now. It's not that loud, but it's definitely blowing some air out. That's pretty good. So I'm going to get this thing fully charged so I can get a feel for how long it takes to to actually use it, or how long it'll go until the charge is done. We'll play Zelda on there and see what happens. So cool stuff. All right, so that's kind of the overview. So I'll take a few more questions, and then I'm going to call it quits around, I don't know, maybe in the next 15 minutes or so. So I have to edit tonight's video. I want to get that video up and then try to do some initial work on this review once it's had some time to charge. So we're going to let this charge up and hopefully get all that going there. So take some questions. Let's go take it up from the top here. Let me see if I missed anything here. I'm going to zoom back up here. I know I missed a lot of comments here. This is one of the things that's really hard. That's why I like what they've done about the super chat. If nothing else, even the money's nice, but it's nice just to get a question that sticks somewhere for a minute so I can actually catch it there. Yeah, so Donnie Clapp, that's right. So the screen doesn't touch the dock. What does touch the dock, let me get in on this really close because you can get a good feel for it. So what does touch the dock are the bezels. So you can see right there it is kind of touching, but it's only the parts that touch. Let me pull it out again here. The parts that touch are only touching here, and these are about the same length as the bezel. So it doesn't flop around all that much, and it's clear that they obviously decided that the risk of the bezel scratching is okay. It's acceptable because you don't want the thing flopping around inside of the oh, did I miss? I don't think I got this on camera. Let me try it again. Let me pull it down here so you can see what I'm talking about here. So here it is connected. So you can see here it's touching on that piece right there, but that piece is only touching the bezel. So this little thing in here that touches is only as wide as the bezel is. So it's possible, like if you push it down this way, then that might happen. So this is where I think this is probably why they're marketing this at an older demographic, perhaps, because as long as you're careful, the screen is not going to touch that base. It's going to go just on the bezel component. So it's possible you might see some bezel scratching over time, but I don't think it'll be worse than that. So that's of note. It would have been nice, though, Mobile Decay points out that they didn't put any padding in the dock, and it would have been nice if they did pad that section, because look, Nintendo is popular with kids. I'm an older kid, but I'm pretty sure that if I brought my daughter's not into video games yet, but if I brought her down here and she saw this or the Xbox, that she'll be drawn to this just because. And if I had the color one, with the pastel colors, she'd be all over that. So I'm sure that there's part of that going on here. Let me just update the game here while we're chatting. So that is that. Endgame says Nintendo could churn out 3 more Wii U flops and still have enough money to stay in business. They are a huge conglomerate with more money than anyone can imagine. I would imagine that's the case, but they also have shareholders who've been pushing them. And that whole issue of the mobile games, with the Mario Run game and the Pokemon Go, their stock responded well more to Pokemon because it was a hit than to Mario. But they've been pushed to try to start releasing software on other platforms. They haven't done it. Actually, they hadn't done it at all since the 80s. This was like the first, I'm sorry, I take that back. The CDI had some Nintendo games, but by and large, they haven't put out first-party titles on any other platforms but their own. The ColecoVision, of course, which we've talked about in the past, did have some Nintendo games on it, but that was like the last time that they did that. And I think the Atari had some also that were that Coleco brought to the Atari. Justin McCullough says, one reviewer I saw complained that the right thumbstick is weird and digging into your palm when you play. So on my palm, it's not doing that. Let me switch camera views here. My hands might be smaller than that reviewer. So if you have, make it see maybe it doing that, but for me, it hasn't. I do think, though, I mentioned this at the outset, that the handle here feels a little narrow to me. So I would have liked to have seen a wider handle, but it's not bad. It's better than I expected it to be honest with you. It does feel wide when it's in. Let's take it out. Let's see if it feels any different when I have the screen going here. These questions are helpful just in thinking about what I should talk about when I review it. So let's pull these out here. And there is a power button on the top of it, so if you want to shut it off, you can do that. I really do like the clicking sound that it makes. I think that's a really nice feature here. Okay, so now we've got them all connected there. So yeah, it feels about the same even in this mode too. So it's maybe just based on how I hold it. So that could be the case. So that is how that looks. I'm going to leave everything plugged in here so they can all charge up. I'm assuming it's going to charge the Joy-Cons while it's all connected like that. Random the Guy, can you watch YouTube using this? No, you cannot. Not yet. I think right now, I'll show you what you can do on it. Not much. So let's go back out to the home screen here. So right now, this is all you can do. There's nothing more. You have Nintendo News that you can see. Let me take the Joy-Cons out here again. You have Nintendo News. So you can get your news. You have the eShop. You have an album. I'm assuming this is like gameplay stuff. You can take screenshots. There's also a capture button down here to take screenshots, and you can share them on social media. There's the controller option here, the system settings, and the sleep mode. Let me check. Let me just make sure that I'm in the right resolution here, because I hate to be TV settings. Let me force it at 1080p just to make sure that I'm there. Yeah, it didn't change resolution, so I think it's running at 1080p right now. Looks like it supports HDMI CEC, so if you turn the TV off, it'll put the console into sleep mode there. Oh, let's see if it supports any surround sound. No, okay, surround sound. I'm not sure what it does, but I'll check that out when I hook it up to my home theater Nook over there in a little bit. So that is the answer to that question. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Joanne says that there's no need to buy it straight away, which I agree with. But there is. I'm actually excited about some of the games coming out for it, especially the new Mario game. I really enjoy those games, especially the 3D Mario. So that was a leading factor in my decision here. And I also like Mario Kart. And it's funny. I have the Wii U. I just haven't played. I'm so busy. I'm less busy now because I don't have a day job. But I really was enjoying Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. I just never got upstairs to play it. So I'm buying it again. I pre-ordered it because Amazon has a discount. So I did that. Yeah, I think that, and by the way, a lot of questions on the media apps. I'm sure they will have media apps on here. There's no reason why this can't play media on it. It's the same. I think it's, again, similar guts to the NVIDIA Shield TV. So I think that should work pretty well. Al G is going to stick to his GPD Win. That's that little Windows handheld I looked at, and you can certainly get a lot of stuff on that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving into Zelda a bit there, CVL. Lisa Gaylord says, if only I could quit my day job and sit around playing video games on a weekday afternoon. Yeah, I know. It's a living, right? Yeah, I don't think I could have gotten the channel built if I was just gaming. This is like a, and by the way, I'll be reviewing this, and I don't think I'll get the traffic on this review that I'll get on some of the other stuff I have planned for this week. And that's just the nature of the business. And I don't do well with stuff that everyone else reviews. I do well with the stuff that not a lot of people are looking at, but I like to do that. Barlow Place says, if Nintendo is failing, then why is the Switch's launch the fastest selling console since the Wii? I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it could be. But, it's not a matter of what's fastest selling now. It's a matter of how they get through holiday season of this year and whether or not consumers respond to this. Because right now, everyone buying it are probably people that we're not crazy about the Wii U for whatever reason, but are Nintendo fans. I think that's who's out there looking at it right now. I'm sure if I went out and started asking people on the street about this thing, they probably haven't heard about it yet. I think it'll be a big factor when we get into the holiday season, what games they have available. I think the Wii U did not do well because there was nothing for it for a long time. You had like the Mario game, the 2D one, and a few other things, but I remember buying it and like not touching it for a long time until they finally caught up with their first party titles, and that was a problem for it, and they've got to be able to do that here. So I want it to succeed. I'm not trying to poo-poo it. I think it's a neat concept, and I like this. I think this is really compelling that you can just grab this and take it with you. I don't know if that's enough, especially given that there's hardware sacrifices made on the hardware, the power side of this thing. So we'll see. We'll see where it is. JT says, isn't the Switch 720 but upscale to 1080 in the dock? Yes, and I'm not sure how it's doing, what it's doing. I need to do some research on that because when you're playing these games here, I'll go back into the game real quick. When you're playing these games here, if I'm playing on the screen, let's go pull it up real quick here. The screen, by the way, looks great. I'm really pleased with the screen. I think it's really well executed. So you can see here, I've got the game going. Oops, I fell off the thing again. Here, let me put the kickstand out. And the kickstand is as cheap as you've heard it being. It's something that I think if somebody gives it a good tug, it'll come off. All right, so I'm going to pull these controllers off and restart again. So I just want to show you just how seamless the transition is one more time. So I'll put left and right on the controller and A. All right, so we're playing the game here, and then I'm deciding, I want to play this on the big console here. So I'm just going to keep holding down the button here. I'm just going to keep playing, even though my little car is getting mashed to bits here. And if I pop it into the dock here, it just comes up. It's really, there's very little delay in transiting over to that, which is why I'm thinking that the graphic, the rendering for that 720p display is the same. It's not doing anything different to the graphics. So it really is very quickly switching over when you do that. So that is what I'm thinking. That's just my gut. And Random Guy says it's not really beta because it's out to the public. I agree with that. And I think, too, we're in an age now where you can put out the minimally viable product and then upgrade it over time. And a really great example of that, and this is, I think, is going to follow that same course, is the Xbox 360. Because I got that right when it came out. I was one of my favorite consoles of all time because it was really just well executed. And what was neat about it was the console that I bought in 2006 or 5, whenever I got it, was very different by the time its life cycle ended, which is still arguably going on still. And the interface has completely changed. They kept adding things and changing how the console worked, and it got better because they were able to update it remotely. And that's something that a lot of consumer electronics can do in this day and age, and not something they have been able to do in the past. So that was definitely something cool there. And Endgame is, of course, dealing with this with his dead pixels on his Switch. Again, I think Nintendo's probably pushing their manufacturing partners to get these things out. In the early days, too, when you're making a new device, even though it's not a risky device per se, hardware-wise, there will be more issues initially than there will be later. And obviously, Microsoft with the Xbox discovered later that sometimes after things heat up for a while, they tend to die on you. So they had a huge loss on the Xbox 360. So let's go through some of the other things here. I got to go through, put the wrist straps on there. I got some warnings about putting the wrist straps on the wrong way. I am not sure why the Meta info says Project Sonic 2017. I don't know why it says that. I tried to put in Nintendo Switch. Maybe it just, I'll get rid of that. That's a good question. If it sells well, developers will definitely make media apps for it. I do agree with that. The price of accessories input funny. Too much money. Way too much. $70 for a controller is a lot of money. Ryan Landy says predictions of the future of the 3DS. I think the 3DS is going to be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with a different one. I think it's more rugged than this feels to me. I think if a kid drops this, there's going to be issues with it because it's it's a tablet. It's not weak, or it's not poorly built, but it feels a lot like a tablet to me that will get damaged if it's dropped. So I think there's probably still a place for the 3DS because it does kind of have its own screen protector just based on how you cover it up when you fold it up. Future of the Switch predictions. I'm not going to make any predictions on what will happen to it. I have a feeling, though, that they have an escape hatch with Android because this is essentially running an Android type of processor. They could maybe port Android apps over to it if it's not working for them. I could see that happening. And then that actually be the best scenario for them if it doesn't work out, because they could say, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make this the best Android gaming tablet on the market. And if you want your Nintendo games to play the best, you get them on the Switch, but you can also play it on your phone or other device. It's going to be a lousier experience. I think it's a long shot, but I bet you that's one thing they could do with this that they couldn't do with the Wii U. I don't think that'll happen, but it could be one thing that they could put together for it. These third parties on board. So Mobile Decay is talking about the third-party support and whether or not the online thing is going to work. And I agree with him that, yeah, they got to get third parties on board with this console. And I think what they have to do, too, is not just get lousy ports of games, because this system will not port Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games over and have them look better. I think they need to get third parties to really develop unique and creative things like we see Nintendo do for this console. And that might be how it succeeds. They got to really work the development community to find those gems that can really make this a system seller. Did Nintendo give away any free case to protect the system? No free case. So you got to pay extra for that. What about Breath of the Wild being playable on Cemu Wii U emulator? Yeah, if you can get it, great. I just, I don't want to download that huge game onto my computer. I like having the, I tell you what, I think there's a real argument to be made here for being able to pull this thing out and play the full game on the tablet wherever you want in the house. That's been the one reason why I haven't played the Wii U all that much, is that I have to go and sit down at the television to play with it. I got family all over the place. I got to keep track of the kids. Kind of nice. I could just rip this thing off the base, gently, of course, and do that. So that is that. Matt Ben, I have not seen any scratches yet, but I'm only about an hour into it, so I'm going to keep people posted on that. I think really it's going to be how careful people are in placing it in, because the dock won't scratch it provided you're putting it in aligned properly, and it doesn't really guide you to putting it in. So I can see kids putting it in a way that does maybe scratch it up as time goes on here. Danny, can you do a Switch giveaway? Probably not. I'm going to probably hang on to this one and do some more stuff with it as more accessories come out. Could the dock include a GPU in the future? Probably not, because it's a USB Type-C and not a Thunderbolt, so I don't think it has enough data to really make that work. Do you think when buying a Nintendo Switch to get a warranty plan? I've never been a big fan of these warranty plans. Maybe it'll help. I don't know. It depends on whether or not they're going to support it the right way when you do have a problem. I know that these companies make a lot more money selling you the plans, which is why they push them so heavily. So I never like to do that just because it means more money for them and less for me. But that's up to you. Garnet wants to know if it runs FreeBSD. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm sure you could hack it to do all sorts of stuff. This might be the time to get one, because they probably didn't think of some jailbreaking thing that they might fix in a later ROM revision. So get it now, and you can hack it to your heart's content later on. 300 price tag is attractive when you look at the price of the games and accessories. Yeah, so Dominic Cellini's talking about the fact that when you buy it for a pretty low price, you don't get anything with it. So you saw when it booted up, there's nothing on the screen because there's no game that comes packed in with it. So you got to spend at least $20 for a game. The Zelda one was $60, so they are definitely pricing them. There is development costs involved, and this is not an easy game to develop, so that's definitely the case there. Let's see. Slipstream wants to know what I think about having to pay for the online stuff. I don't know. I think if I play online, I might pay for it. I'm probably opting not to do that, just because I'm probably not going to play it that much all that much online. But I think if Nintendo or Sony is doing it and Microsoft is doing it, Nintendo's like, why not do it? We can make money too, and the market clearly accepts that. J&J Jules says the big problem is that third parties don't want to innovate, and absolutely. I mean, I think that's been a big problem, is that they're, I look at the development of games, like when I was a kid, every game was innovative. Now every game kind of is a sequel or moving off from something else. And the other thing too is that the market is the customers, the gamers in the marketplace. When something is innovative but doesn't quite work, it's destroyed, and people really kill it. I kind of like this early access concept that Steam does. I think that really makes a difference there. All right, I'll take a few more questions here. Zelda Wii U emulator is the reason why they won't go to Android. That could be. I don't know. I think they won't go to Android because they want to control the ecosystem, but at some point I think they might be forced to, or they might just be forced to release their games to the wild. Ryan Landis wants to know, can you attach multiple accounts to it? Yes, you can. And anyone, how much the cartridges hold? I would bet you these cartridges are, I guess they're 32 gigabyte cartridges from what Stewie May says in the chat. And I bet you they could probably hold more depending on the game. But I like the cartridge. I like the fact that you don't have any loading time and you just pop it in and it plays. So that's been a nice experience. All right, one more question here from Luther Gaylord. Can the tablet connect to the internet via Wi-Fi, or does it need to be docked? Yeah, it is totally Wi-Fi. So the dock has no connectivity built into it. It has USB, so I would imagine, I'd like to try this maybe at some point. I don't think it's going to work right now, but my keyboard here, let me switch back. My USB keyboard worked on one of these USB ports. This is like a USB Type-C dock. It has display output, has 2 USB ports, and then power in. So I bet you that at some point you could probably plug in a USB Ethernet adapter and get that going. That's probably something that can happen. So Anthony Larios wants to just say hi, hello. Will Rowland says if it has the power of the K1 Shield, it could potentially be a game streaming device a la Moonlight service available in the future. I would bet you that's a possibility too. So Casimir, a lot of people have asked about media. There is no media out for this right now. All you get is games at the moment. But I'm sure there will be the ability to play Netflix and YouTube and whatnot. Let's see. Some folks say there is a LAN adapter, so maybe I'll play with that. So I guess there is a USB Ethernet adapter, BB Garnett says, for $30. Do I think it would be a major success if it could run 3DS games? Maybe. I mean, it would certainly give it a lot more games to play, for sure. But I don't know if they want to, I think what they want to do is sell this as the home system, because the battery life is nowhere nearly as good as the 3DS. So we'll see. And Martin says $30. It's an Apple price, and yeah, that's part of Nintendo. Nintendo I've often considered to be like the and this is not a bad thing, kind of the Apple of video games, that they have a real elegance to their products, and they really do. I mean, I think they've developed really good stuff over the years. The games are great, their games especially. Nobody else does things how they do it, and they make a profit doing it. And that's why they have so much cash in the bank to do that with. All right, last question here. Elias Saba says, what do you think the plan is for the touchscreen? You can't see the major games since it's unusable while docked. And that's a good question. I'm not sure, because it would be cool. So one of the things I liked about the Wii U was that the display is even as big as that controller was. The display offered you additional gaming information, so you could have your inventory screen up or a map or something. This doesn't really do dual output, so I don't know what kind of touchscreen options there might be. It looks like, and I was looking on the back of the Zelda game here. Let me switch back here. They give you some indicators. It looks like they've thought about some standards here for how this game is played. So I could see maybe there's a touchscreen option here that says touchscreen only. You can't plug it into the TV. Maybe the game will yell at you when you do dock it, because it'll know if it's docked. So that could be what they're doing there. So John Blanchard, no USB ports on the actual device. And that's going to do it. James, I will, nothing more to say on the Kangaroo Mini PC. We're talking about the Switch today. I don't think there's anything new on it at the moment on the Kangaroo. Does the dock work as a USB 3 dock with a different device? I'm not sure about that. If it's USB-C, it might, but I'm not going to screw around with it because I don't want to break anything. So, all right, guys, I got to take off here. I'm going to get some video editing done, but I wanted to share my initial experiences with all of you. And this will be, I'll have the little unboxing setup video going up on the Extra channel tonight, and I will have some other stuff going on there also. And that will be it. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned. I'm going to try to get a review up maybe tomorrow night on this. I want to spend some more time with this just so I have some things to talk about. I'm going to watch some other reviews too, because not that I want to have my opinion swayed, but I want to just see what other people are doing so that I can maybe offer some additional value. So I would like to think about that a little bit more before I post something. And I would love to get some suggestions from all of you as to some things that you see are not being covered as well. So if you want, you can send me an email. I may not be able to respond to every email, but send me an email, Lon@Lon.TV, and I will take your feedback as I'm looking to do a full review of this thing. And I might break it out into a couple of different videos as well. So if anybody wants to buy Just Dance, let me know. I will sell it for a good price. All right, I'm going to head out here and get my editing done, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm going to be doing more of these now because I have time to do them. So you know, I may not always announce when they happen. Like today, what I did is I said, hey, I'm going to stream at 2:30. So I gave myself like a half hour to get ready for it. So if you are subscribed, turn the notifications on. I think it'll let you know when I schedule something in advance. So that's going to do it for now, everybody. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, and we'll be back again very soon. Bye-bye.